You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How you doing?
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
I hope you have a good day.
Hope you have a better week.
I hope your month is full of successful days and a lot of great ventures. I hope you just come up, brother.
I hope your whole fucking year is spectacular.
Oh, you hope my year is spectacular?
Yeah.
You got something you want to say to me?
You got something you want to say?
Do all that. I do have to go to my riddle for next episode. And for next time, summer is here. I don't have to work, so I can be a kid again. I don't have to complain every day, saying,
Can't believe I have to drive all the way to work.
even if it's not a Saturday.
All the way to work.
Instead, I get to sleep as much as I want, wake up,
I'm making waffles.
hold coffee cups with 2 fingers and the pinky up,
Skadoosh.
wear pajamas all day like it's my super suit.
Where's my super suit?
What?
Where is...
For Scott, for Coho, for Doug, for the Theater Adelaide Finn.
Boy, if you don't...
Toothless. No, it's too early.
This was a very fun episode of One Gotta Stay. We are out. What up, family? It's your boy Madu, and we are back for another episode of One Gotta Stay. We got a slightly packed episode today, so I'm gonna get straight into it. We got 5 of some of our favorite cartoon franchises, animated franchises we have ever had the privilege of growing up with, or we already grew up and still just decided to watch them anyway. We got Shrek, we got How to Train Your Dragon, we got Kung Fu Panda, The Incredibles, and Toy Story. But more importantly, we got our panel for today. We got a couple new faces, a couple of returning faces we haven't seen in a while, and then this guy. But first, I'm gonna go over right over to my left to me, but y'all right. We got Brian. Brian, brand new here. How we doing, sir?
It's doing good. Great to be here. Talk about some of the great franchises that I grew up with, and can't wait to see who y'all pick for each place.
All right, cool. Glad to have you. Now ever since I was gonna put How to Train Your Dragon on, I knew Nico was gonna come here. So if y'all know Nico, you probably don't have many surprises except for 5, 4, 3, and 2. We make it really clear, but he could surprise us. You never know the amount of emails and messages I've gotten from this man all the way up until this date. Him trying to switch it up, he could surprise you. Whether he will, we don't know, but we'll see. Nico, Suave Regole, glad to finally have you on here, sir. How you doing?
Well, you basically imagine I'm a fish and you put the most golden looking worm on your fishing line. That was How to Train Your Dragon, and I just went and bit for it. Like there's no, you basically put that show in this conversation, that franchise, I mean, so I would be on an episode of your show finally.
Yes.
And I thank you for it.
Yeah, no problem. That's I did that last week with Coho with Panic. I did it this week with How to Train Your Dragon. But below you, haven't seen this man in a while. How you doing, Mr. Jonathan Beck? How you doing, fam?
Very good, Mario. Very good. I look a little different the last time I was here. I got a new hat. That's right, because I've been to Ohio a couple of days ago. I've been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame along with it. So I have a great time there. And when I heard one time during the road, I saw this topic out there, I was like, I need to get on this topic. I didn't even flinch at my choices. I just like, boom, send it in through, get me on there. Because pretty much I grew up watching all these anime franchises. I pretty much watched almost all of them in theaters when it came out. So I have a very good memory of some of the movies that I need to see. So I'm kind of glad that Nico is here because I know a certain franchise along with it. And I was a bit worried that he's going to react and I place it though. So just going to leave you with that with a mystery. So I just want to tell you, buddy Nico, finally got you on. And I'm very nervous right here. So I just want to say gut to you guys. And I don't ruin friendships after this is over.
It's gonna be all right. This show ruins a lot of friendships, but they could save right after, so it's fine. Next to him, not the first to email this time. Jonathan actually beat you to it. But Chris Diaz, Chris, been a minute. How you doing, fam?
Doing good. Happy to talk about some of my favorite franchises too. Film I saw all in theater, and had great memories of seeing theater. And I'm looking forward to see some hot take I also have for some of these. But I love the two hot, my hot. I own a lot of them on DVD. And we're going to see a few of them. But yeah, let's have fun.
All right. And we only had 5 at the beginning of the day. And then this man was like, man, I missed it. I was like, nope, I got a spot. Come on in. It's Mr. Hot Takes himself. Devon. Devon, how you doing, fam?
I'm feeling good, real good. I'm excited about this, the topics for today. You know, I'm really passionate about one of the movies, but you know, I'm ready to get it going.
All right, so let's just get into it. He said he was passionate, so let's be passionate. Vaughn, what is your number 5?
My number 5. My first out was The Incredible.
No, it wasn't. It was not. I don't know what he's talking about. That's not happening.
I have a number 5 too.
Not happening. Okay. Sorry. I just wanted to make sure I heard right. You said Incredible Hulk?
No, The Incredibles, as in the super or not so super powered family.
That's my five too.
Why, Vaughn, why is that your number 5?
So just comparing it to all of the other ones, and not to mention the 20-year wait between the movies, like I lost interest. And you know, just compared to the other ones, man, it's like down here on my list. So it was an easy decision for me. I didn't think twice about it.
First and foremost, that. Secondly, 14-year wait, not 20. Third, he's gonna do that one more time because you got the damn mind. Anyway, besides Vaughn, does anybody else have The Incredibles as their number 5 or their number 4?
Number 5.
That's the same thing.
Oh, come. Anyway, all right, fine. Brian, why do you have this as your number 5?
Based on all the other films on this list, like Toy Story, Shrek, How to Train Your Panda, they all have more than 2 movies. This has only 2 movies. That's it. We had to wait 14 years for it. I see that look. I see that look. We have other films on this list worthy than The Incredibles.
2 movies that are better than the majority. I'll get into that later. Jonathan, I think you said you had Incredibles number 5 as well.
Yes. And look, I want to make the full disclaimer before I explain my case. I actually love both of these movies. I just want to make that. Yeah, exactly. The reason why it's 5 for me because I don't view it as more of a franchise, even though it's just 2 movies. And if you really want to make it as a franchise, why they didn't sort of make it out of it before or after the sequel came out, though. That's my little qualm with it. And also, they didn't have sort of like animated plans with anime series or even after the sequel came out. And it just doesn't feel like more like a franchise right here. Even though there's full of superheroes you can build off, it just doesn't feel like a majority of it as a franchise. So that's my reason for number 5.
Just because it doesn't feel like a franchise, does it? Never mind. Chris, go on ahead and tell me why you're wrong.
This is my number 4, so this is above my number 5. But I love this movie. I do. I just
a little less long.
Yeah, I don't emotionally resonate with them like I do with the others. Like, and I think 2 bring it down touch a little because I don't really like the villain in number 2.
I agree too.
Yeah, I think. If they had done a better villain, we could be higher. Just like 2 good movies, that one is a lot better, and having 2 there, but that is good. But a little bit heavy issues that bring it down a little bit. Number 5. When we get to my 5, we will talk about it. But yeah.
Did you just say? You know what? Never mind. 1, Nico, you are absolutely correct. Franchises don't just mean movies. Second. The Incredibles is incredible, and anyway, you know what?
Not so Incredibles.
I'm just gonna go ahead and move on from that because if I don't, I might give away a little bit something. But you know what? Before I do that, I got I got a little something that I got to add on to here because apparently I might yell at these two as well. But let's just bring them in. We also have these two gentlemen who are gonna also
Oh no!
What's up with it?
give us why. Do y'all have what's your
We have the Incredible. We have the Incredibles at number 5. Number 5.
They asked to be on, and I don't know why they asked to be on at all.
I guess the horse was
Fine. Why do you have Incredibles as number 5? The two of you.
So really what it comes down to is the simple fact that 2004's Incredibles might be probably one of the greatest movies that has ever been made about the Fantastic Four. Preach. But the 12-year time difference or the 16-year time difference between the time that they came out really doesn't help the fact that it wasn't that great, and all they did was swap the two characters. So instead of it being a mother staying at home while the father goes out and fights crime, it's the exact opposite. The story doesn't change. Nobody learns a fucking lesson at the end of the day, and the Underminer's still there. Ta-da!
I'll give you the Underminer, but the fact that they actually tackle toxic masculinity and switching gender roles and all that,
but they don't really even tackle toxic masculinity without even talking about toxic feminism. That's the other issue there. You can't handle one without talking about the other if you're going to try to attack that. And by switching a gender norm doesn't mean that that's exactly what you're doing. It just means that you're trying to be like, hey, look, this is also a thing. You didn't really do a good job in your own movie.
I'm going to make this quick because we got to move on. But except for the fact that this world is not balanced, and there's way more toxic masculinity, and Mr. Incredible had to deal with that shit a lot more than Elastigirl. But I'm going to leave it at that.
Bon Voyage to our choice number 5, right? Yeah.
Whatever. I am as well. But we're going to move on. We're going to move on, and we're just going to ask.
Michael Jordan, fuck them kids.
I am in trouble right now, so it's all good. Mr. Suave Regole. Nico, what is your number 5?
Okay, before I say my number 5, I just want to put this up again. My number 5 is Shrek. And here's the reason why. Because Shrek is not just 4 movies. Shrek is also 4 movies and a couple shorts or specials that made to TV that are forgettable, and also a Universal ride that makes me nauseous. But then again, everything at Universal Studios kind of makes me nauseous at their theme parks. This franchise is coasting on how good its first 2 movies were, and then it kind of has an all right third entry, and then it just has a 4th entry that I've been avoiding like the plague. Like I have to watch this movie for studying purposes, and I just have not watched it again because I do not want to relive the pain I felt in the theater. This is the only franchise out of the 5 we're talking about, by the way, that is getting a reboot. And if it's getting a reboot, at least it's been announced that there's a reboot coming, then that means it failed and it's trying to course correct. There's something to be said about this discussion when only one of the 5 franchises that we're talking about is getting flat out rebooted.
You a smart motherfucker.
Yes, you were smart, because even if we didn't have the TV shows, Shrek is easily the worst out of every single one of these franchises. Yes, Shrek.
What did you just say, you giant bastard?
No.
Shrek 1 is pretty good. And Shrek 2 is actually pretty amazing, because every single one of these franchises is pretty amazing. Except 3 and 4, I don't give a fuck about.
3 is better than 1. Don't even give me that shit.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No. So
yes,
I also have Shrek. I also have Shrek as my number 5. Does anybody else
I just
have
want to
Shrek?
point out what he just said. I don't agree with. We're on the same camera. We had to discuss it. I don't agree with what he just said about 3B.
Hey, does anybody else besides me and Nico have Shrek at number 5 or number 4?
4.
Chris, go on ahead. What do you? Thank you. Chris, why do you have Shrek at number 5?
Let me get out. So I did watch the sequel with my girlfriend and never seen the sequel before. I love Shrek 1. I love Shrek 2. Shrek 3 is a friendly ship of garbage that doesn't tend to like and a lot of stuff ruined. 4 is okay. My 4 I admit rewatch and redeeming quality. But sometimes it's fun. But when you only have 2 great movies and a bunch of okay movies, I like Puss in Boots more than a lot of people do. And then we're getting another Puss in Boots and we're getting a reboot. So who knows where they go from here. It's just like I had to put. If I'm talking about the first, I had to put the one that had the most not bad movie that I don't like down at the bottom. There are only three good movies in this franchise I like. And I don't defend Puss in Boots. Like it's a fun movie with fun jokes. Like, but therefore nobody can watch
at all. There's only one other franchise out of these 5 franchises that has a mediocre movie. And it's only one mediocre movie that is better than Shrek's 2 mediocre movies. So very easily, Shrek is done. Brian, why do you have Shrek as your number 4?
I had number 4 because the first 2 are perfect films. The third one I had to put the third one the worst out of all of them. You had Ari, the worst Jeepers character. Even the third one had like you had to bring back Prince Charlie for that one, which I wasn't a big fan of making the villain. The Y is mediocre. Puss in Boots one of the best characters, but the other 3 are better than this one.
Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Definitely Shrek is my easy number 5. I don't know if RJ and Jay are having an internal argument about whether or not the third or the first is better, but we're gonna keep it moving. RJ and Jay, if y'all haven't seen it already, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through each round, and then if y'all still have y'all pick up, then I'm gonna add you because I didn't put you into the order.
That's fine. You're good.
With that, we're gonna move on, and we're gonna let Jonathan, tell us your number 4, please.
Okay, maybe my first shock in the night. It depends. My number 4 is Kung Fu Panda. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
Go ahead, Jonathan. Why is Kung Fu Panda your number 4?
I really like all 3 of those movies. There's someone else who's a big Jack Black fan myself, though. That's also maybe a plus also that. And I do like the meanings and the themes in the movie, and it kind of brings this facing this panda loser, basically unlikely becomes the Dragon's Warrior along within the first movie. And I actually do love the sort of like the 3 villains for 3 different parts of the movies. I actually do enjoy that much. But I had to look through it as a franchise as a whole. It's a very good 3 movies along with it. They had some great action choreography scenes with it. But I had to sort of like basically go back to rewatch it. So I don't rewatch these movies all that much. So that's the reason it's lower on number 4. So that's my reasoning for it.
Bad echo. I don't know where that's coming from, but hey, does anybody else besides me have Kung Fu Panda as their number 4?
I have 4.
Just 4. Nico, why do you have Kung Fu Panda as number 4?
Because it's not called How to Train Your Dragon. We get it, Nico.
Jeez, my turn to talk. Damn it. So I went back and forth on this one a lot as to whether it would be my number 4 or my number 3. Like Amaru can attest to this. I was sending him messages left and right about this. And when it came down to it, here's my reasoning for why it made number 4. I feel like all 3 movies are really good, but the third one is kind of forgettable compared to the other 2. And also, again, franchises are more than just movies. They are also the shorts. They are also the TV shows that come with it. And the thing is, the shorts that came out as part of this franchise, they're unimportant. And
so is Dragon Riders of Birth.
It's not your turn yet. It's not your turn yet. Shut up, Holmes. And Legends of Awesomeness that was on Nickelodeon, that 3-season show, it feels more like it's canon adjacent as opposed to actually part of the canon. It feels like something you can miss and it won't have any impact on your viewing experience of the franchise as a whole. And then you have Paws of Destiny, which was the Amazon Prime show that came out after movie number 3. And it's decent, but they didn't really push it that well. And it only got like a 2-part 1 season. And so it's like the franchise itself ended on kind of a mediocre note because they didn't really push that show to be something special. So basically like good movies, but the stuff around it brings down the franchise as a whole.
Vaughn, why do you have Kung Fu Panda as number 4?
Well, just kind of piggybacking off them, the first 2 movies were decent, and the last one was very forgettable. And just compared to the other movies, it just didn't leave that lasting of an impact to me. Like, I was fine with watching those movies one time and not watching them again. So, and I value humor in like Disney movies or like really a lot of movies. And it just didn't like move the needle much for me.
All right. So for me, this is here on out. This is where everything hurt. Shrek was the only one. Shrek was the only one that was really, really easy for me. Shrek was easily number 5. This is where I was like, okay, every single one of these franchises here on out, either all of their movies are amazing, or they have one slightly lesser film than the other amazing films. And Kung Fu Panda to me is back to back to back awesome ass films. I remember all 3. I love all 3. It just happens to be the lesser of 4 great franchises. And that's why I have Kung Fu Panda as number 4. No shade. I don't really have anything bad to say. It's just happens to be at the end. Now, gentlemen at the bottom who have been muted, do you have a different number 4? Is there a number 4 that is not Kung Fu Panda or Shrek? Go on ahead.
We gonna rip this bandit off real fast right now, bro. You understand that it's probably the one that kicked everything off. I'll give it that. But that don't mean that it deserves the respect that it gets. It's got 1 mediocre movie, 1 great movie, 1 remake of Schindler's List, and then 1 movie that doesn't need to exist. We're talking Toy Story is number 4.
Ooh.
Ooh, boy.
What?
You bastards.
Go on ahead.
No, take a picture. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, yeah? Here's my top with both of you.
How did you come to this conclusion?
Because 1 is mediocre when you go back and you look at it. It's the exact same reason why. Hold on. 1 is mediocre when you go back and look at it. It looks terrible. It's
Wait, did you say number 1?
Acted, but it looks terrible. 2 is the best one out of the entire quadrilogy. 3 is again, like I said, a remake of Schindler's List that does absolutely nothing but make you.
Real quick, just go back to Toy Story 2. Say that again. Say Toy Story 2 again.
Toy Story 2 is the greatest of the quadrilogy.
Yes.
It's the best of the quadrilogy.
It's the best fucking movie of that entire franchise.
You know why?
Message.
Yes, Toy Story 2 is the greatest out of all 4.
It's the greatest out of all 4. But that's just it. When you look at it, at that point in time, the third one is, like I said, a remake of Schindler's List. All you're doing is you're literally going for this emotional crux that really you can see coming from a mile away. Nothing bad's gonna happen to him, and 4 didn't need to exist. The best quote from that movie is the exact way to describe that movie. I'm trash.
Okay. So
Toy Story 4, that's what ruined it. Y'all all want to talk about when y'all were talking about Shrek, how like all the other movies past that is done, then you have to treat that like everyone else. Because Toy Story 4 was 100% absolutely not necessary in any way, shape, or form. The only reason it made money was because it had Toy Story in front of it.
Yep.
That's all. Everybody would have been perfectly fucking fine if we never saw another movie.
Yep. 100%.
I'm sorry.
I agree with that.
Yeah, disagree.
I see no lies there.
I mean, you can disagree. You're wrong, but you can disagree all you want. That's your right.
I in terms of lies, I see none. It wasn't necessary, but this is the movie I have been considering being mediocre. I don't mind Toy Story 4. I think Toy Story 4 is just okay, not needed, but okay. I don't give a damn if it's a remake of Schindler's List.
But you said Toy Story 4, but that's just it.
It's okay. It's just okay.
Well, no, but what I'm saying though is if it's unneeded and it's unnecessary, why add it? If for any other reason other than to make money, oh wait, there isn't one, because all they wanted to do was make money because they know the parents who grew up on it would go to the theaters and see it. It was an unnecessary movie, and that's why it wasn't good.
But
there was a lot of
but you-
people that. Oh,
no, go ahead, Vaughn.
so there was a lot of people that wanted like more of a conclusion for their storylines. Me personally, I wanted to see what happened with
What
Buzz and
conclusion?
Woody.
What did you not get
We-
from Toy Story 3 that you're like, I need to see what happens afterwards? Like,
Well,
real talk.
well-
I'm asking a legitimate question. What did Toy Story 3? Sorry.
Well, let me say instead of conclusion, let me say continuation because
That's fair.
Toy Story movies were really good, and
Toy
it's
Story
one of
movies
those
are
things
okay.
that you don't want to see come to an end, kind of like Game of Thrones.
I
Yeah, but
mean,
you also
I'm
like
fine.
it
I'm fine with seeing Game of Thrones end, especially after
Yeah.
watching season 8. But Toy Story 4 is the season 8 of the Toy Story franchise.
Yeah, Brian, real quick, you had something to say, and then I'll finish this little part off, and we'll move on.
For me, Toy Story 4 was a great end because Toy Story 3 ended Andy's era. Toy Story 4 ended Woody's story.
Yeah, sure. I still agree with the not. I still agree with the not needed, but just because it's not needed doesn't mean I won't watch it again. Because I will watch it again. I enjoyed it enough, and it's still better than Shrek 3. It's still better
Way
than
better
Shrek
Game
3
of
and Shrek 4.
Thrones.
Better than Shrek 3 and Shrek 4.
Exactly, Ducky Bunny.
The Ducky and Bunny were great. I will give it that. I will give it that.
You can't just be like, hey, Key and Peele, take up 8 minutes of this movie. That's great. That makes it good.
That's
It's
why it's
any movie, and it'd be good.
That's why
You
it's
could put 88 minutes of Keanu, and it would be considered great because Key and Peele are there. Facts.
It gave us Duke Caboon. Keanu's one of the best characters.
That is Malcolm, though.
Oh, yeah, Keanu is
while we leave on
in that movie, but that's not what you said. You didn't mention Duke Kaboom.
We'll go from there. So I got rid of, as a quick recap, I got rid of Shrek and Kung Fu Panda as my 5 and 4. So did Nico. Brian got rid of Shrek and The Incredibles. Jonathan and Vaughn got rid of Kung Fu Panda and The Incredibles. And Chris got rid of Shrek. Got rid of Shrek and The Incredibles. I know I said something wrong there, but it doesn't matter. What we're going to do now, we're going to move on to our number 3s before getting into everybody's save. So number 3, let's start with Chris. Chris, what is your number 3?
So, for me to talk because I love the franchise to death, my number 3 is Kung Fu Panda. I think that the third one is not great. I think it's fun and fun. My friends and J.K. Simmons is great, but I love the first two. I think the acting is amazing. I put it on here. How about the Dreamer animation? Dan Omen and Logan Shen is without doubt the best Dreamer animated villain there is from the franchise. That's just that of what he goes through, like with the Panda genocide, and the moment when you kind of feel a little sympathy for him, and he wants to make things right, and abandon him at that point. I love Kung Fu Panda 2. I don't get why a lot of people don't love Kung Fu Panda 2 as much as the other. I think great action. I think Ian McShane is a great villain in the first one. Like, I think it has relatable messages that I like and love. I love Poe. I love the relationship he had with his adopted father. I like Dustin Hoffman, Seafood. I think that great moment, funniness. I think that was the first time to train back. It's also the one of the first dog, Dreamboat, animation, film. Like, how could Panda 2, the whole Panda genocide thing is pretty tough. Flashback story. And my favorite line of the goes when I talk about favorite movie quote line is like, you may not have a happy beginning, but that not make you who you are. It's what you do, who you become to be. It's a perfect message quote. And I we said the line, but it's one that hit me. So it's tough because I think the third cover band goes down a little bit, but I love the first two to death. Gilman, I've always said it, Lotion is my favorite thing about animation.
Yeah, 1 and 2 are great. Did anybody else have Kung Fu Panda as their number 3? Brian, why do you have Kung Fu Panda as your number 3?
I had number 3. I echo whatever Chris said. The animation is great. Love the characters. The villains are incredible. But I gotta say, I find Zor Shen this to be an okay villain, not the best of all Jewish villains. I love Out of all the three, I quite enjoy the third one a lot. It's actually my favorite trilogy. Love his relationship with the father in the third one. Second one, love his flashback story. He was adopted, and his father he had made by his father. And also the first one, love his arc from being like a wallaby panda to a great giant warrior.
Very true. So nobody else had Kung Fu Panda as their number 3, correct? So we talked about it a good amount. So let's just keep it moving. Let's go over to Nico. Nico, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is The Incredibles.
I hate you. Go ahead.
Okay, so this was actually my number 4 at one point, but after I finally solved my moral dilemma with Kung Fu Panda, Incredibles bumped up to number 3. Now I understand the 14-year gap and everything, but here's the thing. Incredibles 1, still fantastic. Jack Attack, the short, fantastic. Incredibles 2, if you don't overthink the whole screenslaver evil plot sort of thing, it's enjoyable. Maybe not perfect, but it's enjoyable. And also, think about maybe why that 14-year gap happened in between movies. This is obviously a franchise that Disney wanted to protect. They still obviously cared about it that much, but they wanted to protect it as much as they could. Hence why in between that time between films, we got the Incredibles as playable characters in the Disney Infinity game. And you know, with all the stuff happening on Disney Plus now, there's a strong possibility we might get some more stuff from the Incredibles. Like, this universe could still grow over time. So I feel like this franchise, its journey is not over yet. And so therefore, I'm going to keep an open mind and keep it right in the middle of my list.
I'm going to say that 14-year gap was because there was no demand for it, because the first one was so terrible.
Wow,
we're not doing that.
Hot take.
Excuse me.
Not happening.
You better excuse yourself from the feed. What did you just say? And I know we had about a fish, but what?
There's no demand for it. There's no demand for it. The only reason they decided to bring it back was because they did
everybody demanded for it.
A soft reboot.
Because Finding Dory did well.
What?
Well, here's the thing with the 14-year gap, though. It's the reason it kind of took so long to make it because of Brad Bird. Because even many interviews before it, Brad Bird was like,
"Don't blame the director."
Yep. I was gonna say he wanted to do other projects besides The Incredibles 2. It took like a couple more years to do it, and also he had a movie to flop around that point. He's like, okay, fine, I'll make The Incredibles 2. And to be fair, that was the sort of like, fans wanted it, including myself. I might add you, and I think that was just more like years of pressure on and other movies right here. So that's the reason it took very long to do it.
Very, very much demanding Incredibles 2's release since it first came out.
Ended.
Jonathan, with that, you're on a roll, sir. Go ahead and give us your number 3.
My number 3 would talk about the Green Ogre himself, Shrek.
Thank you. But go on ahead. Why is Shrek your number 3?
Before I point that out there, Nico, can you put that sign up you just put a couple minutes ago? All right. It's not just with movies. And you do mention Shrek and have some short films, some TV specials. But also the one thing that you didn't mention as part of sort of huge franchise building and a little understated spoken over here, it has a musical. That's right, a musical.
Oh, yeah.
And it won a Tony from that musical, though. And basically, the franchise launched a Tony-winning musical along with it. And let's go back to sort of the movies. I keep it simplified. I love the first 2 movies, and I'll be 100% honest with that. And I think there's more to Shrek that a lot of people are they're scoffing off at because, it's just a green guy basically sparks and squirts, all that stuff like that. So I think it's more to that because the guy sort of set to help people around you, and it's sort of like dealing with all the things that you might want to need to help with people along with it and try to be more friendly with others. So I kind of relate to Shrek in that way, though. That's the sort of reflects it through right here. And the second movie is just sort of based on the parents' scenario. But yeah, it's a little bit like here. But pretty much, yeah, 3 and 4 with some of just okay stuff. And even though I do like Chartman as the villain, but it just means the watchability is still not bad. It was just very watch through along with it. Like even I'm sort of reminded, I almost forgot the one part I also had the franchise though, Puss in Boots. Yes, the movie Puss in Boots is also put there, and I really enjoyed it. So you can count right here, and also part of the franchise along with it. So that's the reason Shrek is higher than number 3, because I enjoy those movies along with it. And a little fact check on Nico's part though, it's not technically a reboot during the recent interviews on it. He said we connected sort of the first movie, so technically ain't a reboot either. So basically, it's not technically
a revival.
Even yes, exactly, a revival, and also they want to bring the original voice actor back. So there's that. So that's the reason Shrek is my number 3.
All right. And to keep it moving, because we got a lot of people and a lot of choices, we're going to go over to Vaughn. Vaughn, what is your number 3?
Drum roll, please.
Wait a second. Incredibles 2 is solid. But anyway, go on ahead, Vaughn.
Drum roll, please. Number 3 was HTTR. Oops, I mean HTTYD, How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, my heart. My heart.
And the reason it's my number 3 is because like I kind of measure a lot of Disney films by like the comedy factor, the human factor, and it was more heartwarming. It had some comedic elements, but it was more heartwarming than anything. And not taking anything away from it, but that's my personal opinion about it. So it just didn't do enough for me.
How to Train Your Dragon is also my number 3. And this suffers from what Kung Fu Panda suffered from, but even more. How to Train Your Dragon is probably the only franchise out of the 5 whose sequels are continuously better than the original. 2 is better than 1. 3 is better. 3 is either equally as good or better than 2. I just don't think as a whole it's better than what the other 2 franchises I have in front of it put together. Again, not a knock. It just is. My top 2 are absolutely top tier animated franchises ever. And How to Train Your Dragon to me is, if there's 1 and 1A, How to Train Your Dragon is 1C. Just barely. I got nothing else to say out of that. Sorry, Nico. With that, let's continue on. RJ and Jay, what did you have after going through that? What did you have?
So we literally had to argue about this, and that's what we were in the middle of having a conversation about when you thought that we were arguing about certain things. Let them know what our number 3 is.
Okay, so we're actually going to change our number 3 because everything Amar said was just wrong, and we're actually going to say Shrek at number 3.
Okay, why is Shrek number 3?
Shrek at number 3 because one is okay, 2 is phenomenal, 3 is, for some fucking unknown reason, probably one of the most hilarious movies I have ever actually watched.
It is funny. It is funny, but it's funny.
That movie is funny as hell, and it has no right to be as good as it is with the cast that it has. They all bring A-game performances, from Eric Idle to Justin Timberlake to Mike Myers, doing 19 fucking voices, to John Cleese, to everybody in this fucking movie. Like, they do such a good job in this, but we had to change it up because I just really want to make Nico cry in rounds 2 and 1.
So how it's working?
What the heck?
I'm just gonna leave it at that. We're gonna just get straight into it now, because we've been talking to death about a lot of these films. We have a lot of people on islands. However, we don't have any groups because 3 people on this panel kept Toy Story. 1 person kept Incredibles. 1 person kept How to Train Your Dragon, and I'm pretty sure we both know who kept each of those. 1 person kept Shrek, and I can't type, so I said King Fu Panda. But we're going to call it King Fu Panda because this 1 person kind of thinks this is king. It's the king of anything anyway. And they're going to be considered 1 person in this. RJ together have Kung Fu Panda. Brian, Chris, and Jonathan have Toy Story. Nico, of course, has How to Train Your Dragon. And Devon has Shrek, and The Incredibles is the best animated feature to have ever been created. Point blank. Period. That
100% false.
is
Wrong.
better than all of the other movies, period, with only Toy Story 2 giving it any kind of run. Point blank, period. Nothing is smarter than it. Nothing is funnier than it. Nothing is better acted than it. The story is great. The best villain out of all of them. The Incredibles is amazing. It wanted a sequel ever since the first one came out. Incredibles 2 is probably one of the overshot down sequels I've ever seen. First time I watched it, I was like, all right, this was pretty good, not bad. And every time I watch it, it gets better and better and has arguably the best fight scene in any animated feature of all time. Jack Jack versus the Raccoon is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. And if I haven't explained it before, I usually take over at number 1. But since we got everybody's, go ahead and fight, people. Why are y'all wrong?
Who wants to start first?
Go ahead, Ryan. Go.
First of all, Nico, nobody gives a fuck if you're sad in this world that you're the only person who voted for your movie. You knew that was going to happen. Get over it.
Everyone knew it was going to happen.
You had to know it was going to happen.
You're the cosmic night theory. If you had chosen anything other than How to Train Your Dragon, I would have been surprised.
Yeah. Right. Don't be like, oh, my heart, you guys. You knew this was coming.
You knew this was going to happen.
It came close to being my number 1.
I feel like I'm getting yelled at by Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets.
You're dead right you are, you dumb bitch.
Brian, Chris, and Jonathan, I understand why you have Toy Story as number 1. It is a very respectable pick, but explain why y'all have Toy Story as number 1.
For me, I have Toy Story number 1 because I grew up with this franchise, love all the casting. Don Rickles, Tim Allen, great casting. Second movie, you got Buzz Skywalker, the greatest Jedi who ever lived. The third one, great, even though for Best Picture. The third one is actually I actually enjoyed the third one. It's pretty fun going back to the world. Love Forky, even Ducky Bite with the best characters in Toy Story.
Chris, Jonathan?
All right. All right. Actually, you go ahead. Oh, wait.
So, I am a 90s kid. I was born in 1991. I grew up with all of the Toy Story movie. I graduated from college to going to college when number 3 came out, so these movies hold a special place in my heart. I was ending, I favorite toy, I gave them away. So, it's just the characters like Buzz, Woody, Bo Peep, Jesse, Bullseye, all of them hand web. They're fun characters that we love, like, it's quotable. It had great villain, also RP, that great is a great everything. It's a great villain. It is a terrifying villain. Every guy is a good villain. Like, and memorable moment that hit you. I cried. All 4 movies I do cry. I think one of the best theaters been was seeing 1 and 2 back to back in 3D before 3 came out. And it was taking my little sister who never seen any Toy Story movies see those when they came out 1 and 2 back to back. It was a fun experience. Watching it did like watching them, but sometimes it was better than I watched. I enjoyed it for it. Not like a lot of people. I think I had a great theater experience with laughing so much with the audience, and I still did cry in the end. I think 3 were perfect ending. Like, the long part of mine that stayed with me.
4
I
was
think
not
no bad movie. I think all of them are great in each and every one of them. What was good moments in there?
It had good moments, but that's not it.
I'll give it 3 I think 4 I'll give it 3 had a funny Fuck much. And it's great. And I think that the perfectly it's something I love. I mean, like them, my number 2 are almost close. 1 and 2 are almost close. But I had to go for it. Something I grew up on. I am Andy in every way. And yeah, the long partner, thank you, Chris, for one of my favorite series at the whole time.
Yeah, it was really hard for me to go between Well, no, it wasn't. Incredibles was always my number one, but it hurt my heart that I didn't have Toy Story because I love Toy Story 2. I love Toy Story 3. I don't care if Toy Story 1 doesn't look great anymore. It was great for its time, and the story is amazing. But Jonathan, why do you have Toy Story as your number one? He brought the damn cowboy hat.
What's with John Ruckus' hat making an appearance right now?
I don't know.
Oh, you got
Jonathan, you're gonna Peck, you got to say something before I kick you out of this.
All right. Enough this second. Yeah, it's my number one, and I did not hesitate to put this number one, and it's not even close one bit. It has Nico. Can you bring that sign up again, and let me explain why?
Why do you do everything everybody tells you to do, Nico?
Exactly. Everything Toy Story has is the sign said so. Take all the movies right here. It aced everything outside of the movies. Great short films. A great TV specials with the Toy Story of Terror and the Time I Forget with the action figures. They have a great Disney on Ice show along with that. Great video games, great soundtracks, and by it, a very underrated animated series, Buzz Lightyear, Star Command. So
even though the attractions as well, Disney got the Toy Story Mania.
Yes, exactly. And that's the reason why it's my number one. And to the movies itself, what else can be said? I love all of the movies, like all of them. And it's not even close. And the first Toy Story, great buddy movie. The second one is a great heartfelt story along with it. And Toy Story 3 came in sort of the right age, the right time for me. I just came out of elementary school, almost the last day of school, and I watched this afterwards, and I loved every minute of it. And I'll say it's my favorite of Toy Story movies. I don't get a flying F. What everybody thinks about it is one of my favorite Toy Story movies. And Toy Story 4, it's unnecessary, but let's be honest, pretty much every movie is unnecessary. But I still enjoy it much right here. I like the new characters, Becky and Bunny, and same thing right here. And also Duke and Boom, and even the dolls. They're legit creepy, but I love at the same time. And the attention to detail. Yeah, you mentioned the animation film. You mentioned the animation on the first film. If you look, Toy Story 4, though, detail by animation and the lighting perspective, it's shot very good. It's shot like basically like a downright real life dolls along with it. So that's the reason I always respect, though. And that's the reason I love and respect the franchise as a whole. I grew up with it, pretty much watched the first one every day on VHS. I was super young along with that. And that's the reason I love Toy Story to death, and basically it's number one. It's not even close. And we got getting a spin-off film when Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear, and somehow people are excited about it. So they are more clever with Toy Story in some different areas. So that's the reason it's number one for me. And I'll say, how do you do?
Again, I'll just leave off. Toy Story 2 is the best out of all of them. But go ahead, Nico and Vaughn. Nico, I get how to get your dragon one. I will say it's the only other one I've seen whose first animation was like way less than its second and its third. For Vaughn,
halfway, take a few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man. You
ain't got the answers. I don't understand about your pick and Shrek at all. But you two go on ahead.
I'm gonna let Vaughn go first. I want to have the last word here.
You're unfortunately not gonna have the last, but you'll get.
You're not even the last person to talk, bro. Stop.
Vaughn, why are you wrong?
Yeah, so
shoot this motherfucker.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm wrong because Shrek I shouldn't have definitely been the only one to pick it, as the one to stay. Just somebody mentioned it earlier, like one of the Shrek movies is like the funniest animated movie ever. And it has the greatest comedy scene in all of animated movies. When I can't remember if it was 3 or 4, when they were like storming the castle and the gingerbread man was turned into, not the gingerbread man, when Pinocchio was turned into he was turned into a real boy. Yeah, then he's like, I'm a real boy, and then he just get like zapped back to Pinocchio. But yeah, that was like the most hilarious scene for me. And just like I said, just comedy is like huge with me with Disney movies. If it's not a great story, then it has to be, like funny. It has to make me laugh. And Shrek did it for me, so that's why I kept it as my number one.
I'm not even going to comment on the story thing. Nico, How to Train Your Dragon. I gave it away at the beginning because we all knew that was your number one. There was no surprise. Why? Good reason, but why?
Okay, first let me just say this was actually a little bit harder for me than you might think because Buzz Lightyear was my first Halloween.
No, you're not fucking liar. No, it wasn't. Don't fucking lie like that.
No, it absolutely was.
You're a fucking liar. Goddamn second.
Okay, go ahead, Nico. Go ahead, Nico.
It absolutely was my first Halloween costume. Toy Story was that thing I was obsessed with as a kid before How to Train Your Dragon came into existence. Like, I watched the Buzz Lightyear of Star Command series and movie. I'm excited for the Buzz Lightyear movie. But here's the thing. How to Train Your Dragon, out of all these franchises, How to Train Your Dragon is the only one out of these 5 where the movies reward you for watching everything else that's part of the franchise. Because here's the thing. Dragon Racing in movie number 2, they did a 30-minute short to explain how Dragon Racing even came to be a thing. In movie number 3, when Hiccup is making that new prosthetic tail for Toothless, you hear Astrid say, "You tried this once before and Toothless didn't want it." That's a reference to the Gift of the Night Fury holiday special. And the TV shows that aired on Cartoon Network and on Netflix, in between movies 1 and 2, they tie into the things that happened in between those movies. Like, we get to see the history of the Bewilderbeast. We get to see an actual Bewilderbeast egg, the egg that would become the alpha that Toothless would end up siding with and or fighting, depending on which Bewilderbeast it was, in the second movie. This is the most interconnected franchise out of all 5 that we've discussed because it rewards you for watching everything. And just like Toy Story, it has its own multiverse. Because if you're a 5-year-old kid, then you've probably seen DreamWorks Dragons Rescue Riders, which is a show where that's sort of more based on the books than the actual movies, where there are 2 kids who can actually speak Dragonese. They can talk to dragons, and they use it to help a village. So it's like it has a multiverse to boot to the fact it is the most interconnected universe out of all 5 of the franchises we've discussed here today.
Nico, quick question before. It's just more of a casual question. What Dragon series is better, the one they are on Cartoon Network or Netflix one, in your opinion?
They're both kind of the same
Honestly,
show,
no
just
kiss.
broken up in a weird way. But Netflix, I think, got to do a little bit more with the content they have than Cartoon Network, simply because one's on TV, one's on
with more
streaming.
money got to do better. That's crazy. How does that happen? Also, Nico, it's not the most interconnected. If there's the most interconnected one, would be the one with the video games, the fucking Disney on Ice. It's goddamn Toy Story. Stop. It's still not good, and that doesn't make Toy Story the number 1 either.
Both are great. But anyway,
fucking Kung Fu Panda.
You 2 gentlemen down there, finish this off. Why is Kung Fu Panda number 1 for you? Or King Fu Panda?
King Fu Panda is number 1. Because it's misspelled. I love the Statler and Waldorf. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, we kind of do look like
We do. I get it. Kung Fu Panda literally has a story that pays off on all 3 of its movies. And guess what, Nico? I'm going to go ahead and steal your argument because you kind of made it for me. All of the fucking TV shows and these shorts are all interconnected, and they do well to expand the lore and create a story that goes beyond the movies. Stop. What are you doing?
But the movies don't reference those other things. The movies don't reference those other things.
There are references made in every single one of those shows about the movies. Don't give me that. It can't be one. It's a 2-way street. Besides that, legitimately, you tell me one where a dude isn't rail fucking thin and actually has the ability to fucking do everything. Jack Black's Poe, Brown Boy, gets the shit kicked out of him by Tai Lung for a little bit, kicks the fucking absolute piss out of all of the other fucking champions there, out of all of the other animals. Throws
I now know. I get it.
Cannonballs
now,
back,
Jay.
not throwing 1 but 2 cannonballs back, deflects 1, throws 1 back, and then literally goes to the spirit realm, defeats an evil fucking ghost. Let's see you fight a ghost dragon, motherfucker.
You can't really say he kicked ass because all he did was just take a lot of punches.
He did. Hey, but I get it now. I get why they have Kung Fu Panda. They felt seen and they felt heard. The Chunky boys
Thor is my favorite Thor.
Exactly. Pretty self-explanatory.
But I don't have to give you a sob story about how I loved it while I watched it in school, or I had to do this. It's literally just this.
And this works on more of a level than just an animated movie. All these other franchises just rely on the fact that they're animated movies. Let's talk about the fact that Kung Fu Panda, I'm sorry, if you're not a fan of like old like Chinese movies, like back in the day,
Shaw Brothers movies,
real talk, man, because this is exactly what a Kung Fu movie, this works on the level of just being a Kung Fu movie. It's more than just an animated film. In every single movie, it is still a Kung Fu movie as much as it is an animated movie.
It was the worst Kung Fu you've ever seen.
Say what?
He said it's the worst.
Which is the worst of the three?
No, worst Kung Fu you've ever seen.
Worst Kung Fu I've ever seen? That's not true. I've seen Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
No, he was asking, I think.
Oh, I thought he meant out of the three.
Oh,
also,
I did being a dick and just saying it's the worst Kung Fu movie of all time, and we took it weird.
Is it the worst Kung Fu movie that you've ever seen?
No, I've seen
I was gonna say
Kung Fu movies.
Wait, I've seen, what is it, Equilibrium? The one with fucking
I think
Christian Bale?
Yeah.
I've seen the one with Christian Bale where he does Gun Kata. That's the worst movie I've ever seen.
Worst.
With Kung Fu in it. Well, Gung Fu in it. Gung Fu. Get it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, we've had a good time here. I don't have Jay and RJ because they came in as a surprise, but they were the ones who kept Kung Fu Panda. Devon, I didn't take out Toy Story for him, and I'm not going to do it now, but he kept Shrek. I don't know why. Brian, Jonathan, and Chris kept Toy Story, and then me and Nico went Chalk. I kept Incredibles because I think it's amazing. Nico kept How to Train Your Dragon because it's Nico, and we knew that was coming. That's why he's on the show. But with that, I thank everybody. We're going to go on to my hint for next week's episode. So there's only one Denzel. There's kind of only one Leo. When you say Meryl, you have no choice about who that is. And if I say Viola, well, fam, it's Viola. But when it comes to these four guys, we've been asking, who do we like out of those four? Is it the son of the nurse? Is it the son of the god, who also happens to be also a son of a god? Or is it the son of a planet? We'll figure out next time on One Gotta Stay. So for Brian, for Nico, for Vaughn, for Chris, for Jonathan, and for RJ, we are out of here.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the